All right, so before we begin our acrylic paintings, we first need to take our piece of primed canvas. I included at least two pieces in your package to take home. So take the bigger of the two, and this is going to be your grid. The other piece can be a place for you to practice, to test out, mixing different colors, trying different brush strokes, and I'll talk about that here in the upcoming days. But for your larger piece of the two, you're going to create a grid that will correspond to the image. So there'll be another video to watch to prep your image and make it a good 6 by 8 inch image or something close to that. And then whatever the dimensions of your image are, you're going to make the same dimensions on your canvas. Now, instead of enlarging things 3 times like we did in Art 1, in this case, we're just going to work on a 1-to-1 ratio. You're actually just going to make or a 1-to-2 ratio, depending on what you decided to do with your gridded photo. You're only going to make it as large as a 6 by 8 photo. So your actual image should either be a 6 by 8 image with a grid over it so that you have 1 inch to 1 inch, or it should be a 3 by 4 image where each grid square will get twice as big on the 6 by 8. The first thing I would do, because we're working on just a blank piece of paper here and not gridding on top of something else, and the edges are a little bit wonky. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is go down towards the bottom here and draw a line just to have a bottom edge. Then I'm going to put my ruler on top, and this is handy if you have like a wider ruler. If you have a T-square to create a 90-degree angle, that's fine. Otherwise, put your ruler along that line and then draw up along the side, because the edge of your ruler is a 90-degree angle. So that gives you a place to start. And now I can put my ruler against that line. And I even like to double check by making sure the lines on my ruler line up with my bottom line here. I'm going to draw my other side here. So I have a vertical and a horizontal line. And just by using the ruler, we've made it pretty much close to a 90-degree angle. It may be off by a hair, but it should work. So in order to make this, we are going to measure from this left line. And if you're doing vertical, that's fine. It's just the same way. You can measure it out this way and just turn the canvas later. I'm going to put the 0 at the corner, and I'm going to make a mark at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 is going to be the end. I'm going to move this up towards the top of the line. Make sure the 0 is at my side vertical, and do that again. Always, always, always make 2 marks before drawing a line that needs to be straight and parallel to other lines. If I were to just use these lines, the tops would probably be all over the place and they would end up crooked. So I need 2 marks to make straight lines. And I'm going to go and make my straight lines by putting the ruler against both marks, holding it still. The rule is measure twice, cut once if you're a woodworker. So making sure to measure things is always good. And in this case, since it's just a drawing, lining up twice and then drawing is a good idea. Making sure your marks are nice and lined up against the ruler. All right, this is my last line, and then we're going to make the lines in the other direction. So now I'm going to take my ruler and move my laptop here just a bit. And along that first edge, I'm going to put my ruler at that bottom line now. So it's going vertically. And I'm going to line it up. It always helps a little bit. I'm going to make a line at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It always helps. I'm not hovering directly over the ruler because of the document camera, but it does always help to kind of look directly down. If I'm looking at this from an angle, I might be off by a bit, but if I'm looking directly over it, in fact, I'm kind of looking at the document camera because that's giving me an absolute direct view from straight down. But if you look at this at a serious angle, you may end up being off a little bit. All right, now what I'm going to do, put my ruler against those 2 points. Boom. I'm going to make my lines. Now, the lighter you do this, the better. We are painting over it. This is really just to get your pencil lines in place so you know what to paint. Remember all of the things that you learned in Art 1 about grid drawing. That all comes into play. We're going to use acrylic paint, but now we're going to be a little looser with our acrylic paint. So our lines don't have to be as perfect as that project. They can be a little looser, but if I use this grid, transfer my design, at least the rough outlines of my design, I can then have a good image to fill in with my paint. So I know what to do. Okay, that's how to make a grid. And good luck. Let me know if you have questions.